Shady's back, tell a friend. Guess we're back, guess we're back, guess we're back.
Hello there, WeirdShady here, ready to serve some weirdly personal story time on a metaphorical silver platter. I have always used to joke that my PlayStation 2 was my best friend. The older I get though, the more I actually realize that it wasn't entirely a joke. When I was about 6 years old, I got my very own PlayStation 2. And during most of my childhood, turning on my PlayStation 2 felt like some kind of routine. I would sit there in my room, holding some disc that was probably filled with more scratches than a proper surface at that point. Because the games I had meant basically everything to me. I mean, of course they were scratched. I played them constantly. I would press the power button, and I swear to you, there was something to that small, satisfying click. Then comes the quiet hum of the console waking up. And then that sound. The dramatic, almost ominous startup tone that felt way too intense for a child who just wanted to play those games he had been waiting all day for. Even to this day, I can't forget those floating towers. The memory card skyscrapers, rising slowly from the darkness. It always felt like they knew something I didn't. Like they were silently deciding my fate. I mean, do you remember those moments when the uncertainty arose? If a game would even load properly? Or you would be greeted by the red screen of error and doom.
This can't be happening, man. This isn't happening.
That red screen felt biblical, mate. Like I had offended some ancient deity from another dimension or something.
I also need lamb's cress. Do you mind?
Well, you better work,
Fine.
Kratos.
Lamb's cress. I'm a fucking god of war.
Or, like the universe itself had decided that today was not my day. And when the PlayStation 2 logo finally appeared instead, confirming the disc worked.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
What I felt wasn't just excitement. It was relief. Pure relief. And that difference matters. Looking back, I don't think it was just about loving video games. It was about what they gave me that the outside world didn't. The world outside my room felt fast. Social rules seemed unwritten, but somehow everyone else had read the manual and knew it by heart. Conversations moved very quickly, and reactions were expected instantly. There was this constant pressure to keep up, and I always felt slightly behind. That kind of pace just didn't work for me. For a long time, I told myself I was just slow. My brain felt like it moved at a different speed. I needed more time to process what people said, even more time to respond, more time to understand what was happening around me.
You know what I mean?
I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
And in environments that reward speed, that doesn't look impressive. But games were different in my experience. Games waited for you. In games like Jak 3, I used to walk around, or roleplay a bit, or just listen to the ambient music. It felt calm and a bit lonely in a way, but also safe. Like I could just exist without anything demanding anything from me. It felt like I had my own space inside the world of the game. That feeling showed up in different ways across the games I played. Mortal Kombat Armageddon is one of them. I wasn't really good at the fighting part at all, but I was completely comfortable in the character creator. I could spend hours in there, just adjusting colors, shades, outfits, building characters that felt like they had a purpose. I even made themed ones. Like each character had a role in some world that I was quietly putting together. Another game I played a lot was The Incredible Hulk. Kind of mid-game, I have to say, but fun nonetheless. The disc was damaged, so getting it to even boot up was always a gamble. I remember sitting there, almost negotiating with it in my head, or the said deity inside of the console, like I had to be on my best behavior just to deserve it starting. And when it finally did work, it felt incredible! Pun intended. It genuinely felt like I had won something before the game even began. I also spent a lot of time in games like Sly Cooper, Ratchet & Clank, and of course the Jak and Daxter games. And those worlds weren't just games to me. They were places I could actually settle into. Even LEGO Star Wars had this calm structure to it. Clean goals, clear feedback, no pressure to rush, just play at your own pace. And looking back, I realize games don't rush you through dialogue. They don't judge you for pausing. They operate on systems and patterns. And they wait for you to engage. Speaking of Ratchet & Clank, I never actually finished Ratchet & Clank 2 though. I got stuck at many points, and instead of pushing through, I would restart the game over and over. I think I believed I could, quote, fix the part I was stuck on if I just started fresh. And even when it comes to something like Mortal Kombat, I wasn't really playing it competitively. I was just figuring it out slowly at my own rhythm. I've since learned that I'm autistic, officially from the doctor. And looking back at my childhood, a lot of things suddenly make more sense to me. And the thing is, I was never the stereotype people imagine when they think about autism.
I am a surgeon! I am a surgeon!
I wasn't a math genius, I wasn't school smart. I didn't excel in the traditional ways that get praised. And when I think about my relationship with that console, it suddenly makes a lot of sense to me. I used to say the PlayStation 2 was my best friend, almost as a joke, but maybe what I meant was that it felt safe. It didn't overwhelm me. It didn't expect some kind of social performance from me. It didn't move faster than I personally could think. It had structure, a predictable setup sequence, familiar menus, consistent mechanics. Even the anxiety of whether a scratched disc would work or not was part of the routine. When something didn't load correctly, it felt bigger than just a technical issue. It felt like the one stable thing in my life had broken its promise to me. But when everything worked, when the game finally loaded and I entered that familiar world, something in me relaxed.
That was a close one.
In that space, I wasn't behind. I wasn't trying to decode facial expressions or figure out if I had said the wrong thing. I wasn't scrambling to respond fast enough. I was exactly on time. For years, I told myself I was just escaping into games. I thought maybe I just wanted to escape reality. But now I see something else. Maybe I wasn't escaping. Maybe I was regulating. Maybe I was creating a space that matched how my brain naturally works. Earlier in the video, I mentioned that I used to call myself slow, and I genuinely believed that. But the more I reflect, the more I realize that perhaps slow isn't the right word. Slow could imply that something is lacking, something is failing to keep up. What if it wasn't slowness? What if it was just a different rhythm? Fast environments reward quick reactions. Games often reward attention, observation, patience. They reward noticing patterns. They reward thinking before acting. There's a difference between being slow and just moving at a different pace. And maybe the PlayStation 2 was the first place where that difference didn't feel like a flaw.
I'm bad, and that's good. I will never be good, and that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me.
When I think about those memories now, they don't feel sad. They make me feel some kind of relief. That console wasn't replacing people. It wasn't about me isolating myself either. It was about giving me space. Space to exist at my own tempo. Space to feel able and capable. Space to explore worlds in a way the real one sometimes didn't. At least for me. By that, I mean it was consistent, visual, structured, and it was patient with me. Something that many people often weren't. It was the one place where I didn't have to rush. And maybe that's why it means so much to me. Not because it was just a console, but because for a kid who felt slightly out of sync with the world, it was the one place where being exactly the way I was enough. That's all I had for today. Thank you very much for watching. Farewell for now.